Let's get it. Let's go. We about to talk about these quarterbacks today. Why do I want to talk about this 2025 class of quarterbacks? Well, first of all, I just want to thank y'all for coming in, man, and tuning in because y'all could be anywhere else, but y'all here with me. So therefore, I thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all hit that like button, share the stream. But yo, I believe in them. I straight up believe in these quarterbacks. I do. And there's no other reason besides this intuition I grew up with. Now, for real. And how I survive things, right? So, but I'm gonna start off with two quarterbacks that I think that could be invited to a camp. You know what I mean? They're not really per se the quarterbacks that's going to go to a team and change a franchise, but a guy that you can get as an undrafted rookie free agent that I think fits the mold for NFL quarterback that has all the traits and maybe missing some traits or and definitely needs some time to develop, but they definitely are the prototypical size that you want in the NFL for quarterbacks. And they have this and they have the weight, right? The physical attributes, right? So, I mean, there's plenty traits that you want to look for in a quarterback, right? So you want to look at the decision making, competitiveness. I think that all falls into like the resilience of things, their vision, their field vision, their decision making, their accuracy, their leadership. There's that's falls into some of the traits of a quarterback that you want to be looking for. So let's keep that in mind when I'm going through this list of quarterbacks, right, for the 2025 draft, because I'm not going to be here long, but I got to come up and I was like, I got to feed the people and, you know what I'm saying, and give them what they looking for out here. So my first quarterback is Donovan Smith that played up at Houston, right? Yes, Donovan Smith. And Donovan Smith possesses a lot of those traits. Now, granted, Donovan Smith did not have the best of he didn't have all the best years and because of injuries this year. I think he was benched because he threw twice as many interceptions as he had touchdowns this past season. He only had 867 yards, 4 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, right? And that's his stats for this year. But I think some of his better years came in, and I'm really not one that's big on that. But since there's a lot of people out there that do this, why can't I get away with it, right? You know what I'm saying? But in 2023 was his best year, I think, up at Houston. You know what I'm saying? He threw for 2,801 yards. He had 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, had a QBR passer rating of 135, and he also rushed for 428 yards and he had 6 touchdowns, right? That year. And I look, I'm not saying that Donovan Smith is going to be, like I said, no franchise changing quarterback. I think I look at him like a Charlie Batch-ish. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that you could bring in as an undrafted rookie free agent, stash away on your roster, assign him to your practice squad and build him up and get him ready because he has the size. You know what I mean? And he possesses some of the skills that you really want to look for. But it's all about what team he goes to, what scheme, and you know, what scheme it is that fits him. You know, is it an easy Kyle Shanahan at the, you know, at the San Francisco 49ers type of offense, or is it Andy Reid that could get him and turn him into a diamond? You know, what system will he go to? 6'5", 235. At least that's what they got him listed as. So you know he's a true 6'4" quarterback. And that's what you want. And he has the weight too to go with that. And he threw some passes at the Big 12 Pro Day, and it looked all right. And some of they were like, who was throwing that ball? That was Donovan Smith that was throwing it, right? So let's just say that he's there. And then I'm gonna get into some different quarterbacks too. So I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna get into some different things. But let's start off with Donovan Smith there. All right. Now there's another quarterback, and this may come into shocking some of y'all out there, but I think KJ Jefferson. KJ Jefferson. First of all, he played in the SEC at one point in time, right? 2021 and 2022 was his best seasons in the SEC. KJ Jefferson was a name that people knew about Arkansas, and that's what he was a big reason why a lot of people thought that going under Gus Malzahn up at UCF last year, he was going to change a lot of things, right? and he was going to have a good season. It didn't wind up being that way, right? It just didn't wind up being that way. He's been in college forever. Have y'all ever seen the Sandlot? Forever. You know what I mean? But at the same time, KJ Jefferson, he got the size, right? He's 6'3", 237 pounds. He still threw for over 1,000 yards before he was benched this year. 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But like I said, he's been in college for a while. And in 2021 and 2022, even 23, he still had over 2,000 yard seasons in the SEC. I'm not saying that KJ Jefferson is, once again, I have to put this disclaimer on here because people sometimes hear bits and pieces and what they want to hear, selective hearing, I'm not saying he's going to be a world beater, but KJ Jefferson is somebody that you might want to bring in and as an undrafted rookie free agent at the quarterback position. If your team needs that, stash him away, build him up. And I think that, we'll see. I think he could be a serviceable backup quarterback in the NFL at some point in time. Okay. And I just wanted to get those two guys off and show them some love because there's a lot of names that's not mentioned. There's a lot of names that's not mentioned in this draft and quarterbacks that should be mentioned. And I'm going to get up into them. Now we get up into some of the other quarterbacks. Of course, we talking about Cam Ward. Cam Ward possesses everything, right? He has every single trait that you want in a quarterback. Everything. Competitiveness, resilience, leadership, accuracy, footwork, vision. He has it all. And to go on top of that, improv, right? Improv, he just makes up things as they go. The Miami offensive line was made up of good offensive linemen, correct? But the thing is that was their first year playing together, and that matters for an offensive line. So despite what everybody wants to think and to say that Miami had this super world beater offensive line, if you asked a true Miami's Hurricanes fan about their offensive line, they probably would agree with me and say it wasn't that great. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, Cam Ward made it work. Why? Because of his quick release, his reading the defense, the way that he was able to process the defense and the plays and the scheme and look at the defense and get it off quick. And even when the plays broke down and he was under pressure, he was able to wiggle out of that and everything else. So that's a lot of with Cam Ward. But the one thing and the one knock on Cam Ward, and I got to keep it real, is Cam Ward, you can't go to the NFL. You got to live to play for another down, dog. That's the only thing I got to say about Cam Ward. Live to play another down. Understand that you're not going to make every play, especially being with the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans take Cam Ward first. Westbrook-Ikhine, despite what everybody out there wants to think about Will Levis and Westbrook-Ikhine, he's the only one receiver out there that really balls. They got to get him a pause. They got to get another weapon for Cam Ward. And I'm talking, if they take Cam Ward first overall pick, they got to go receiver second pick. They got to get somebody off the board real quick. I don't know who's going to be there, but it seems like guys are slipping everywhere all across the board, right? Let's just say Luther Burden winds up being there. Maybe not. I'm just saying that is an early 30 pick. That's like what, the 33rd pick of the draft. That's not bad. You know what I'm saying? One of these guys is going to wind up falling to the 33rd pick of the draft. You got to get some more weapons around Cam Ward, and he'll make it work for you all day, every day at Tennessee. But that's all I got to really say about Cam Ward, because he possesses everything, right? I think Cam Ward's on point with that. Now, Shedeur Sanders, as we all know, and I'm geeked about it. I'm super excited that he went to Pittsburgh and he had a good visit up there. Now, I mean, what was he gonna say? Small ass Pittsburgh, you know what I mean? They got what, 3-lane highways, and Pittsburgh got all these damn hills. There ain't nowhere to go out in Pittsburgh, and when you do want to go out somewhere in Pittsburgh, you gotta watch where you're going. Yeah, because that's just the way the city is up there. You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't gonna say all of that. I mean, if you go to Pittsburgh, that's why a lot of pros wind up being so damn good, because there really ain't a lot to do in Pittsburgh. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's things to do, but, you know, the crowd that he may want to be around, it causes trouble up there. You can't have nothing, you know what I'm saying? Because we always messing something up. I'm just keeping it real. If he did decide to go out up there, I hope it's a grown and sexy, you know what I'm saying? Somewhere where you got a dress code, something like that, to where you ain't got to worry about, you know what I'm saying, watching it back. that's another conversation for another day. I'm going off topic, but that's how I get sometimes, y'all. Y'all got to work with me. Anyhow, Shedeur Sanders going up there, that's good. Now falling to 21, if Shedeur Sanders fall to 21 to the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's crazy for y'all. That's crazy, because I do think like we're just a player away at that position. Now, could he get us there in year one? Maybe. But definitely year 2, 3, 4, and every year after that, yes, he will be able to take the Pittsburgh Steelers to multiple Super Bowls. And we all know that. Like, let's keep it real. What we always say about quarterbacks out there, y'all, we always say this. A great or a elite quarterback can make a bad offensive line look good. A good quarterback can make a bad offensive line look okay. And Shedeur in college was an elite quarterback at the college level, because he took a offensive line to where us, and when I say us, I mean my Raw Hat family and those that been kicking it with me in my circle, right? Been telling everybody out there that this offensive line had trouble. And now and Shedeur did the best he could with this offensive line. The reason why a lot of his passes were 0 to 5 yards were because Pat Shurmur had to go and dumb down this offense to help out this bad offensive line, get the ball out of Shedeur's hands quick. Now we do, however, because of that point, we do know by him holding the ball long that he reads the defenses, but disguises happen, right? So processing the defense may be a weak point of Shedeur's, but other than that, he throws on time. And those timing routes are huge in the NFL. And if you asked me, Arthur Smith system and what we ran last year, if you even watched the Pittsburgh Steelers, would fit him perfectly, right? It might not be the ideal place of where he might want to be at, but an Arthur Smith system with Shedeur Sanders in it and Mike Tomlin being the head coach, I think that's the perfect marriage, because we're not asking a lot out of him. He throws well over the middle. That's all in there. You'll see Calvin Austin III. He goes across the middle all the time. He's there. Maybe we get another guy that with some speed or something, LeJounte-ish. You know what I'm saying? He got DK Metcalf on the outside. They hook up with them deep balls. Shedeur got it. I mean, that would be the perfect marriage. It's not asking a lot out of him, and we like to run the ball. Now, as far as New Orleans goes, there's weapons down there too. I think that's a great fit for him also. But he can do every single thing there is. Why is he slipping in the draft? Hey, I couldn't tell you, because the Giants, they need a quarterback. But I think a lot of this has to do with the past. Now, the past, all the quarterbacks have not hit. People have taken quarterbacks early in the early rounds, and they have not been successful. And now I believe the NFL and GMs are looking at this and saying, numbers don't lie. Women lie, men lie, but these numbers ain't lying. These first round picks have not hit, and this quarterback class is taking the brunt of all of that, because now they're finally waking up and seeing that all these quarterbacks aren't hitting. Well, I'm here to say, out of these last 8 quarterbacks that I gave y'all, not the first 2, but 4 of these guys are going to be franchise quarterbacks, and I'm going to stand on that forever. I'm not going anywhere with that. But most definitely Cam Ward, and I know for sure Shedeur Sanders, no matter where he ends up at, I hope it's in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? Because he'll be a legend out there, but he's going to be great wherever he goes. That's just what it is. Shedeur Sanders is going to be great wherever Shedeur Sanders ends up at, and that's how I feel about it. He's going to be successful, and that's just the makeup of him, all right? So moving on to the next quarterback, all right? Much love to Shedeur Sanders. Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord had one bad game. He had one bad game. And what I mean by that is like displaying the traits of a quarterback, the traits that I named earlier, right? That's it. But he has everything else. I mean, he's like 6'3", so if they got him listed as 6'3", he got to be a true 6'2", right? And all these quarterbacks nowadays are athletic enough. This is the the time of athletes, right? They no longer have the size, but they're all athletic. They're all athletic enough to run if need be, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that but these guys are labeled as pocket passers, but they're still athletic enough. Kyle McCord, and people have been buzzing about Kyle McCord, but Pitt put together an excellent game plan scheme against Kyle McCord. The way that Kyle McCord processes when he goes up to the line is at a good level. Kyle McCord displays the traits of being a good NFL quarterback. That's why I don't, is it a reach? If you're in the late rounds, the 20s, even if you're in the teens, if you need a quarterback, no, I don't think it is. These guys have that. Now rushing them into the situation sometimes just don't work. It just doesn't work out, and I think that's what that is like, okay, let's have these guys sit behind these guys, because quiet as kept, the New York Giants, they went and got and it's not quiet, they went and got Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson. They could be looking at taking a Kyle McCord in this early second round. That wouldn't be a bad pick at all. You know what I mean? That would not be a bad pick at all. Kyle McCord would not be, because the one bad game he had, other than that, on point, fired, threw on time, can make all the throws, good arm. That's what making people question his decision making, is that one game, that game against Pitt. Well, they came out with a great game plan. And see, that's the one thing that a lot of NFL defenses just don't do anymore. They don't come out with game plans. That's why Spags is so good at what he does in the Eagles. Those are two defenses. Pittsburgh Steelers always make the playoffs because we come out with a scheme on defense. We come out with game plans. A lot of teams don't come out with game plans on quarterbacks. They on teams, period. They just don't do it. And that's what separates, to me, from that's just one of the things, to me, when I look at football from my understanding and from, my looking at this from a cerebral standpoint. That's what I see. It just doesn't seem that way. Now, of course, they all have a game plan, but they're not. But Spags, he's playing chess out there. You know what I mean? When he calls that defense on the Chiefs, he's playing chess every single play. There is something to do. That's not like, okay, we going, okay, 4 quarters, ready, break, cover 2, ready, break. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's complex, and that's all I'm saying there. Now, Kyle McCord, I think he sees the field very well. I think he has all the traits that you want to look for in a quarterback. And look, I can't argue it. And one thing is, his football intelligence, I think, is good. His being resilient, his resilience, right? If that's ever a trait, I think is great, because to throw 5 interceptions in one game and to come back the next week and throw 5 touchdowns and lead that team and finish up the season he did with Syracuse, if that doesn't say a lot about his character, I don't know what does. All right, I just don't know what does. I don't know what you can say after that. But I'm gonna keep it moving on the next quarterback. Shout out to Kyle McCord. Tyler Shough. He's another one of these quarterbacks that suffers from the past. And I think, do y'all remember Brandon Weeden that went to the Cleveland Browns? Do y'all remember him? He was 28 years old, a 28-year-old rookie quarterback that went to the Cleveland Browns. A bad organization. Browns fans probably agree with me too at that time, right? Now, he was old enough. And I think that's what people are looking at when they see Tyler Shough. And hold up, there's another one. I know y'all out there talking about, well, trucking is also the injury history too. Does he have the callus to keep up with the NFL? Will he stay healthy throughout a whole season? You know what I mean? That is a great question. That's a great one right there, right? But I think he also suffers from being 26 years old. Let's not forget, Michael Penix is going on 27. He just was or was he a 27-year-old rookie? I don't know, but I know he's up there and around that same age, correct? And that's what Tyler Shough, I think that's what he's suffering from right now. And let's just keep it a buck. Like, we can't do that with a lot of these guys. They looking at the past and saying, oh, they didn't hit. But he has everything. He showed you every single thing that you want to see in an NFL quarterback. And not only that, he got the size. And like I said, a so-called pocket passer nowadays is going to be athletic enough, give you enough athletic ability when a play breaks down to make something with their legs, especially while they're in their younger days. But Tyler Shough, he got it. He got it. And he's definitely not a sleeper. A lot of people have been buzzing about him, on the net. I've been seeing it around, but I've been talking about it. But most definitely, come on, man. We can't sit here and say that this class is just, they're just all bad quarterback. No, I don't think they're not. I don't think so. I just don't think so. But we'll see. But he has it all. He has it all. Let's not forget what he did with Louisville this year, right? Let's not forget that. Because, Tyler Shough, I got to get his stats, right? The dude is 6'5", 225. He threw for over 3,000 yards this season. 3,000. He threw for over 3,000. That's not bad. 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. It's a damn good season, right? It's not bad. You know what I mean? He the best competition, they straight up beat on Kentucky, beat on Pittsburgh. They also beat Clemson. That was a significant win. He didn't look that good in that game against Clemson. I keep it real. Now, and that's why it might be coming in and questioning, right? He just didn't look that good in that Clemson game. And could that be questioning? But he looked all right. He looked good against Notre Dame. He didn't play. It wasn't horrible. He did throw a pick that game. And in Miami, he threw for over 300 in a Miami game. That him and Cam Moore was going toe to toe, right? So those are the games that he has of significant, on his background. But come on, Tyler Shough got it. Yeah. Now everybody want to start talking about Will Howard because John Gruden sat him down and said he gonna play like Josh Allen. You the same size Josh. I don't know if he's another Josh Allen, but I know he's athletic. And I know he was just in the national goddamn on championship game. How can a national championship quarterback, I said this last week, I said this the week before, I am sounding like a broken record at this point. How could a national championship quarterback not be talked about being taken in the first or second round? We know he's athletic. We know he got the size. Where is he lacking that? I have to, because he's not lacking in arm strength, mobility. His footwork is okay. I think he looked good. His accuracy, I think, is questionable because at times he would miss some of these great wide receivers. Now, remember, he had some good wide receivers up at Ohio State. Jeremiah Smith and Mbuka. He had some great receivers. Now, they made him look a little bit better than what I granted. But, when you talk about his leadership, he just came from Kansas State and went up to Ohio State. And the team he was on won the national championship. So that says a lot about his character. Now, and just coming in, he's definitely a physical quarterback when he's running. Now, if you didn't see him physical up at Ohio State as much as you saw him at K-State, K-State, he was the reason why they should have beat Texas. Kansas State should have beat Texas when Will Howard was there. He played his ass off that game against a very good Texas team. And not only that, Will Howard has played some very tough teams. He has played some very tough teams. He got them on his resume. 6'4", 235, threw for over 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 picks. And he got a decent resume. Notre Dame, Texas, Oregon, Tennessee, Michigan. Should I keep going? You know what I'm saying? And do I have to keep going? That's more than what a lot of guys out there have. You know what I'm saying? That's for real. That's more than what a lot of guys have out there. A lot of the quarterbacks we're talking about going in the first round, don't have that on a resume. They don't have that. But Will Howard just may not be. Size, strength, all that. He has the traits. Athletic enough. I mean, all I'm saying is we can't sit here and say that all these quarterbacks is going to be bad. I don't care what round you take Will Howard in. You're going to get a gem. You're going to get a gem on your team. And definitely a sleeper. Definitely somebody I want on my team for sure. Definitely if you can't get somebody else. You did? That's crazy. That's crazy to me. So, hey, let's go ahead. That's not somebody, like I said, I could keep going on and forever with that. But that's Will Howard right there. Shout out to Will Howard, by the way. Jackson Dart, another quarterback to where we're talking about two other quarterbacks going before a quarterback who played in the SEC his whole career. Granted, in a Lane Kiffin offense to where the experts are saying that it's very quarterback friendly. It's easy to play quarterback for Lane Kiffin. I don't care. Is it easy to play quarterback for Lane Kiffin when you got to play Georgia, Alabama, LSU? Should I keep going? Do I have to keep going? He's seen these guys multiple years. He's played some of the best defense against some of the best defensive linemen in the NFL right now. What are we talking about? What is going on out here? Oh, well, his intermediate throws. Okay, is an intermediate throw a trait of a quarterback that is going to be good? Now, you got to coach him up. He has to go to a good system. A lot of this has to do with what system is these quarterbacks going to land in. Whose system? Is a Brian Daboll system going to fit a Jackson Dart? That's the question. That is the question. Because we know he can get it done. He's played with some of the best teams against some of the best coaches that college football has to offer us. So to say that he cannot make it in the NFL is like, what? What are we what? Yes, he can. But will Brian Daboll's offensive coordinator be good for Dart? Get Dart what he need for the Giants or whoever. He may be Pittsburgh, you know what I mean? Depending on how it falls. But once again, we're going to say now, just a little bit about Jackson Dart. 6'2", true 6'2", I think he is, 225. Another guy who he threw for over 4,000 yards in the SEC. 29 touchdowns, only 6 picks in the SEC. Yeah, I know it's easy to play quarterback in Lane Kiffin's offense. Okay, cool. All right. He did it for 2 years back to back, over 3,000 yards in the SEC. And I don't have to speak on his resume. The one game they're going to want to take back, everybody knows, is the Florida Gator game. Still threw for over 300 yards in that game, by the way. 2 interceptions and 2 touchdowns. And his completion percentage was not that great. His decision-making was not that great. Billy Napier's defensive coordinator came out with a great game plan for Jackson Dart. That's what that was. And see, and that's what you have to do to these guys. But I don't have to speak on his resume. He got the best resume out of every quarterback in the draft. In this year's draft, but like Will Howard has the second, but he has the best resume. Period, point blank. Let's keep it there. Period. So that's what Jackson Dart has. We moving on. What up, KMS929? What up? I appreciate you. I'm working the slide, so I really can't see everybody. Jalen Milroe. Another SEC quarterback that we're talking about going in the second round. Now, I'm going to say this, and I said it before, and I'm repeating myself again. If Jalen Milroe would have been consistent through the whole season and did what he did to Georgia to every team, Jalen Milroe would be the number 1 overall pick, hands down, in this year's draft. No arguments or none of that. He had a bad season, and now all of a sudden, And he didn't throw that good at the combine against the air. And yes, his decision making this year, I just don't know. Was it the system? Because let's just keep it real. Under the greatest coach, one of the greatest coach in college football, one of the best or the best to a lot of people, and Nick Saban, he looked good. And now I'm not saying that DeBoer is not good, but he did not look the same. And that's one thing that we all can agree on. But he has an outstanding resume. He's played against some of them. He took down the number one team in the SEC, Georgia Bulldogs. Now look, SEC fans, don't go ahead and y'all could crush me later. Georgia is the standard of the SEC until anybody else prove otherwise. That's it. Until somebody takes them off the crown. Now, Alabama is also, you know what I mean? But right now, Kirby Smart got it. Nick Saban's not out there no more. DeBoer got it. He got to earn his respect in the SEC before I say that Alabama is, with all due respect to Alabama fans. He got to earn that. Kirby Smart has earned the right to say that, right? And he did it versus one of the best teams out there, one of the best games against arguably a team where you can draft their whole defensive line and win a Super Bowl. Damn. And we're going to say that Jalen Milroe is second round pick. So if my Pittsburgh Steelers took him with the 21st overall pick, would that be reaching? We got a 21st pick. So probably, but the New York Giants taking him 10 picks later, technically because it's the second round, wouldn't be. Damn good quarterback. He has super athleticism at the position, and he's exactly what the NFL is turning to, the true dual threat. And when you got receivers like DK Metcalf and George Pickens and a tight end like Freiermuth, those tall targets, he ain't got to be super damn accurate. He ain't got to have pinpoint accuracy. He don't. Just get it in a radius. That's it. Like, do y'all agree? Do y'all disagree? But I do think that there's other teams that he'll be a perfect fit for. I've named them before. Buffalo, Baltimore, Eagles. I think Kansas City, with Andy Reid. But he's going to turn out to be something. He did damn right. You can't catch him. What are we talking about, people? What's going on? So, another quarterback that we could talk about. Another one. Yes, I'm talking about him. Last but not least, man. I told you I wasn't going to be up here too long today. It is what it is. Got a lot going on. And I just got out the truck. I did 6 days this whole week. But Riley Leonard. Yes, I got Riley Leonard up here. And the reason why I got Riley Leonard up here is because he was in the national championship game. Now, I know Riley Leonard is not everybody's first pick off the board they're talking about, but his decision making is damn good to elite. It is elite. His decision making was on point. And a couple of times he made throws, they was on point. All right. Now, Notre Dame did play some good teams. They did play some good teams. He had 21 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. He threw for almost 3,000 yards. He's 6'4", 216 pounds. And I know, look, he suffers from that bias. He gives you Tim Tebow vibes, right? And then he was at Duke before he went to Notre Dame. So it's like, he's going to be another Daniel Jones quarterback, right? Like, no, we can't really say that about Riley Leonard. We can't really say that about him because Daniel Jones ain't never go to a national championship, right? But he still got drafted. And he still did his thing in the NFL enough to where they gave him a nice little nickname like Danny Dimes. He's still getting picked up on NFL teams. despite what we may think about him or whatever, you know what I mean? And we all got mixed feelings on him, you know, still getting picked up by NFL teams. So, but Riley Leonard, I think, is a damn good gem. I think he's a damn good gem for a team. And for all we know, these NFL teams who are picking up multiple guys, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, the Browns might be looking at Riley Leonard in the second round. I mean, because we know for a fact he's athletic. He has the size. And when you got the size of Riley Leonard and the arm and you have all the traits, you looking at that and you're saying, damn, okay, he's definitely athletic enough. We know that for a fact because he just went off with running the ball. And he's played some damn good competition. His resume, he has Ohio State on his resume. Even in a loss, he still didn't throw no interceptions that game. That defense was just different. He did not throw an interception in that game. Had a 71 completion percentage, by the way, too, against the Ohio State University. Right? He beat Penn State, came back and beat Penn State. Right? Very accurate decision making. Now he threw two interceptions that game. But that's the resilience. And that was in a game to go to the national championship. He did not choke under pressure. That's exactly what you want in the NFL. Is it not? Is it not? Now, I'm serious. Because almost every game is like that, is the equivalent, right? Because you got to win every week. Every week in the NFL, it's can we go 1-0? We don't want to go 0-1. You know what I mean? It's week to week. So every game is a big game, right? And he threw 2 interceptions in that game and still showed the resilience, the leadership to lead his team to come back and to win that game. Right? Granted, he didn't throw the ball a lot. He threw it, 20? I think it 20-something times that game. Right? I know he completed double digits. It was in the teens or something like that. But still, but all I'm saying is that he came back. He showed that. That's mental toughness at its finest. Beat a Georgia Bulldog team. Now, granted, they just ran all over the Bulldogs, but the toughness was there. But that's the athleticism against some of the best athletes in the SEC. Come on now. Come on. A very good Indiana team this year, SC. They ran through, like, they played his resume's all right. And he was in the national championship. And and there's other quarterbacks, like they haven't, look, with all due respect to Cam and Shedeur, some of these quarterbacks that may be going in the later rounds after these guys, they haven't played tougher competition in one season than they have played in their entire careers. And that's why I wanted to come on here, the fans' point of view, and talk about this 2025 class of quarterbacks, to point some of these things out, to talk about some of these things, to inform y'all on some of these things, to put it on wax. Because to me, it's crazy. And when you really sit down and you think about it, when you put it all in perspective and you look at the resumes of some of these other quarterbacks, and you say, dang, they really, yeah, that's right. Riley Leonard, Will Howard, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, they all played some damn good teams and some damn good defenses. And they got a resume. Now, granted, they don't have the wins or the biggest social medias, or you know what I mean, or they may be lacking some traits, but this is why they talk about the class of quarterbacks being bad. Well, I'm saying it here final right now, once again, before I get on up out of here. 4 of these quarterbacks, of these 8 quarterbacks that I just gave y'all, will be franchise quarterbacks in the NFL. Which 4? I don't know. I'll give y'all that another day. But y'all let me know what y'all think about it. I appreciate y'all tuning in, man, for the quick half hour, so I could get this off my chest and talk about these quarterbacks on a fan's point of view. Because without y'all, there ain't no me. But thank y'all for kicking it with me, man. I appreciate y'all coming through, yo. What up? What up? What's up with it? What's up? What's up? What's up? What up? What up? What up, Cliff? What up with it? You see me talking about Riley Leonard, so you want to now? Does anybody have anything they want to say? I don't know. Normally, when I open up the floor, people come up sometimes, and sometimes people don't. So I'll open it up a little bit. If y'all choose to come in, y'all want to rap for a little bit. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not, I'm gonna be out. You know what I'm saying? Give y'all a couple minutes. But that's what it is. It's just crazy. And I think a lot of this has to do with like the past. Of course it's the past. Because shout out to Rawhide, because I gotta give credit when credit's due. All right, I got to. You know what I'm saying? He pointed it out before. What up, Cliff? What up? What up? Cliff joined us, y'all. What up, Cliff?
What up, Trucker?
Ain't nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? Up here rapping about these quarterbacks, man. Talking about these quarterbacks. I know you seen Riley Leonard up here, so I was like, yeah, that's what got Cliff up here.
Well, I'm just coming in. I ain't hear everything, but yeah, I did see the picture. I said, let me come on up there and see what's going on.
Yeah. Hey shit. I actually was about to, I was about to wrap it up. I was just up here for a quick little I was just up here for a quick little show, real quick. You know what I'm saying? Put together talking about the 2025 class of quarterbacks. 1st I started off talking about two quarterbacks I think that could go on a team as a undrafted rookie free agent. That was Donovan Smith from Houston and KJ Jefferson from UCF. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be world beaters or anything like that, but I think those guys can come in on a roster and you know what I'm saying, and on a practice squad as an undrafted rookie free agent, and you could keep those guys around, like kind of like we did with Charlie Batch, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, like that,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't talked about it, been able to talk about it. I've just been amazed with how now a lot of people are saying Jackson Dart may move ahead of Shedeur.
Well. I mean, if we're being honest, right, and I know Shedeur was an elite quarterback at the college level, but if I'm being honest, why isn't Jackson Dart talking about as being the first quarterback off? I mean, he had a successful season in the SEC. He's played more tough teams than these guys have played ever, and in one season ever. I just got finished talking about their resumes. His resume is unbelievable. He's played Georgia twice in his career, twice I think, or something like that. I don't have it pulled up just right here right now, but just thinking out top, like his resume is unbelievable. He's an SEC quarterback, a successful SEC quarterback. He should be the first quarterback off the board, hands down. But I mean, and I'm not hating, I'm just stating facts. He's played in the toughest division in college football.
Yeah. I just think if every quarterback in this draft, well, they've already considered it a weak quarterback class. And I think every quarterback has multiple flaws.
Okay.
I think also the reason why we may only see one quarterback go, I still think Shedeur might go 9 to New Orleans, considering what just happened to Derek Carr.
Okay.
But I think I think teams are prioritizing other important positions on the team. I think this year has been showing that most coaches would rather go with a veteran quarterback than to try to start something off with a rookie quarterback. Over the last, I'll say, 5 to 10 years, there's been a lot of misses on rookie quarterbacks.
Absolutely. Right. I was just talking about that with Rawhide. I was just talking about that. Rawhide pulled that up. We was on the panel. I think he might have went 20 years or something like that. Did he? I don't know. It was a long ass list of quarterbacks that was bust in the NFL. We went through every single quarterback, and there's a lot. There was a lot of miss, and I think and I talked about that at the beginning of the show also. Like, I think GMs and these head coaches are finally waking up, and they're judging this class, and they're saying, well, we've missed a lot with quarterbacks taking them in the first round, so maybe we should just ease up. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, I don't necessarily believe that just because you take a quarterback in the first round that you have to start them, but
Right.
you're missing out on something else if you don't take them. If you know what I mean, like since I
Right.
don't got to take them in the first round, if I, I'll miss out on a Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, a Mike Green. You know what I mean? You'll miss one of those guys, and when you could take a Shador or a Cam Ward in the second round, and it's still valuable. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
still very valuable. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I mean, I listen to the chatter, and I understand that people get behind, certain players and everything. But there's nothing wrong with getting drafted into the NFL, regardless to what round you in.
Mm-mm.
I
Right.
mean, you still got to prove yourself. Just because you a top 10 pick doesn't mean that you're guaranteed anything. And I don't know why a lot of people think that that's the fact that if you drafted in the top 10, it means you're automatically penciled in. Because if you can't grasp the game, you'll be off the team. You'll be somewhere else, or you'll be out the league,
That's
regardless.
that's a fact. That is a
You know,
fact.
so, as far as some of these quarterbacks, a lot of them, I don't want to see really none of them thrown into the fray. I think some need more time than others to be behind someone to learn. But Shador, Cam, Jackson. I think maybe a year or so behind somebody to learn and things of that nature. See more NFL defenses help them all.
Mm-hmm. Now,
So I just don't want none of them just thrown in the fire and then they're messed up. Not as far as their physical, but the mental.
right, right, right. Do we think anything less of Shador Sanders because he slides the number 21 to the Pittsburgh Steelers? Do you think anything less of Shador Sanders if that was to happen?
No, no, not at all. I
Right.
mean, and in actuality, I would applaud it because you're going to a better situation. You're going to a stable franchise. You're going to a franchise that doesn't flip coaches. I mean, you're going somewhere stable, and some of these players coming out of college need stability.
Right. Right. Exactly. I think that's what they're kind of doing, and I just posed the question, like, what was it a lot like Tyler showed? You remember Brandon Wheaton that went to the Cleveland Browns? I think he was like a 28-year-old rookie quarterback or something like that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he was out of Oklahoma State. Yeah.
Okay, out of Oklahoma State, right. Now, do you think, and I know that's kind of old, but we don't forget nothing. People don't forget anything. Do you think Tyler Show from Louisville is kind of suffering from being an older quarterback, and that's why he's sliding in the draft?
I think that plays a part because before him, you had who was that? You had what's the name out of Florida State, Chris Winkie.
Okay.
Before him, you had Henson that was playing with Tom Brady at Michigan. I mean, but he wasn't that old. But
Okay.
I think before Wheaton, Winkie was the oldest quarterback that you had out of Florida State. And he won a national championship. Came to the NFL, wasn't really all of that. Was basically a backup.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that's what we have to understand too. There is a significant difference between the NFL and the college level.
Mm. Yes,
We need to understand that you may be a starter in college, but when you get up to the big boys league, you may be good enough to be a backup.
Mm.
And that may just be in the cards for you. Now, a lot of things play in factor with that. Some people mentally can't grasp everything on the NFL level.
Mm-hmm.
Things become more exotic, especially with quarterbacks looking at defenses. People can't tell me in college that you've seen every defense, and then that depends on what conference you play in.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to the NFL, you see way more exotic defenses.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Like the post snap, what is it that like the post snap decision making, like how do they adjust to what the defense is going into versus what the defense showed them at the beginning of the play. And Spags is one of the best at that, right? At Kansas
Yeah,
City, he's one of the best at doing that. And a lot of these guys can't process that. So after the snap, they lose, and that's where I think that and they judging a lot of them off of that. But if you're really looking at that trait right there, like I think Cal McCord is very good at that.
yeah,
I think Louis, I think Tyler Show is good at that. You know what I mean? I think he may be even better than Cam Ward at that. Cam Ward, he's good at improving. Like I mean, damn, but he's good at it. He's good
right.
at it nonetheless. You
Yeah,
know,
I
and
agree. I agree with you 100% with that analogy. They have more experience. I think Cam, his major problem is I don't know if his interceptions or some of his throws, if he's not recognizing something, or if he thinks he just can automatically make that throw. Because a lot of times last year, it was throws that he made, and I was like, why did he throw that?
right. Why didn't he take the check down in that situation, right?
Right,
Or
right.
later play another down, right? And I talked about that with Cam Ward too earlier, also, like and saying that and seeing that in him. Like I mean, nobody's going to be perfect because nobody's perfect. But at the same time, though, like these quarterbacks got things they need to work on. They're probably missing one of the traits. But I mean, I really, when you watching these quarterbacks, especially the ones who are not supposed to go in the first round or not talked about going in the first round, like let's talk about Will Howard, for instance. Like he played up at Ohio State. They've played some tough games. We've seen him play Oregon. Like, did he? I mean, his decision make that last play when the time ran out. I guess you could say like, damn, that was bad. But other than that, I mean, he played some good teams, and his pre and post snap decision making was there. His playmaking ability was there. His leadership was there. He showed resilience.
Yeah.
Everything that you want in an NFL quarterback, he has. Now, and I was talking about that before. Won a national championship. Um, but what's some of the knocks on Riley Leonard, man? Like, because you're a Notre Dame fan, so you pay attention to him tough. What's some of the things that you did not like about Riley Leonard, man?
Well, I know one of the knocks, which have always been this, has been his arm strength. Um, Another one is the processing being a little slow.
Okay. So,
Um,
so what? Like, is it you talking about pre snap or like or post snap? Like after that, you know what I mean?
both is both of them are slow, and then he's too quick to pull the ball down and run.
Mm,
You
mm.
know, see, this is what a lot of people have to understand. Sometimes with a lot of college football teams, the quarterback only reads half the field, especially if they're athletic. So if that half of the field is shut down, his coaches may not require him to come back across to the other side of the field. So he has to take off. NFL is different. You have to go through your progressions.
Okay. I thought he did good with that leading into the later on in the year,
You,
especially like in the college football playoff. Like I don't know, maybe, but I thought he did okay with
he got much better, but it can be improved on. And the other thing is his arm strength.
that. Okay.
You know, a lot of things I've been hearing, and that's the same thing about Jackson Darty, is they both have athleticism to them.
All right. We know that for a fact. We know
Right.
that when it got
You know,
athleticism.
so that gives him some advantages also because he's not rated as just a pocket passer.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, but yes, it has been put out there. His pre-snap and going through his progressions can be a little slow. You know, and his arm strength is also a question.
Now, what do you think about Jalen Milroe, like, how do you feel about Jalen Milroe? Like honestly, like, you know what I mean? What's your take on Jalen Milroe?
From me watching Jalen the last 2 years, it's more of a mechanical issue.
Mm,
He
okay.
needs to touch up on his mechanics, his feet, bringing his hips through, things of that nature. I mean, because he has an arm, he throws a great deep ball, but short and intermediate routes, he has a problem. It's either sailing over, it's
Mm-hmm.
behind, or it's down in front too much.
Okay. All right.
So he and they'll work on that. That's why I say he needs a year behind. They'll work on getting his footwork together,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of his throwing motion, bringing his hips through, working on his follow through more. And I think he'll be okay. But yeah, his is more mechanical than anything.
All right. All right. Yeah,
From
because
actually, from what I see.
okay. I feel that. I feel that. I'm rocking with you. I'm rocking with you on that. You know what I'm saying? I'm letting you give your analysis on that. So I asked you, did I ask you about Cal McCord? What you think about Cal McCord?
From the couple of games I did see, um, he looks he actually Cal McCord is not bad at all.
I didn't think so neither. I didn't think so
Um,
neither.
I mean, I understand in college sometimes the footwork can get a little ragged, but I didn't see that too much from him from the games that I saw.
I think he struggled the most in like and after the his like that post snap decision making that for Cal
Yeah,
McCord, I think that's where he struggled at, and that's why Pitt was able to, you know what I mean, get the 5 interceptions, but to bounce back the next week and to go out there and go crazy after that game, I think was amazing for him to do that like that. That because that showed a lot. That showed a lot. And speaking on that his character, you know what I mean, and to bounce back after that Pitt game the way that he did to carry on the year, I think showed a lot about Kyle McCord because I think that he's one of those guys that might be ready because he's faced some good competition too. He got it on his resume. He did play in the Big Ten. We can't forget about him playing in the Big Ten. Now, granted,
right.
it wasn't the best year that Ohio State wanted to have, but he got some teams on his resume though.
Yeah, yeah. So like I said, all of them have to improve. Some in more areas than others.
Right.
You know, we'll just see if they do improve and if they get the game down mentally. People talk about Shador's arm strength, and then saying he throws a catchable ball and things of that nature. It's a lot of quarterbacks throw catchable balls. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I think actually Shador might possibly be one of the best decision makers
Mm-hmm.
out of all of them. He does show patience, but his patience has to be within reason besides him holding the ball too long.
Yeah, you gotta live to play. Live to play another one. Throw it away. Throw the
Yeah,
ball away and let it be that. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Or take the check down if it's not there. But um, and that's why I think that he'll be successful in an offense like the Pittsburgh Steelers because that's exactly what our offense calls for. Get the ball out your hands quick because our offensive line was not the greatest. So, in our Arthur Smith system, that's exactly what that calls for. Get that ball out your hands. It's either going to be one of them deep routes or it's going to be something quick to either, you know what I'm saying, one of them tight ends. Um,
right.
you know what I mean? So, and then we got that across the middle, and he does good with all of that. Now, that there I don't know. See, because that one thing in the back of your mind is could he played in the Sean Lewis system? That's the one question that I think a lot of people out there, just to keep it a buck, really want to know. Like, could he play in the Sean Lewis system, or what was it tough for him or the receivers? Which one really was it? You know what I mean? Because holding the ball is a sign of decision making. You know what I'm saying? Post snap, right? Let's just keep it a buck. Like what you see on the field, like, oh damn, I thought I saw something else than what I'm seeing right now. So now I'm
Right.
holding and trying to wait until it's open. But he also has the vision to where he's making those smart decisions with the ball and getting the ball where it needs to be, like, with extreme accuracy too. So like he's one of those really tough evaluations, and I agree. Like, you know what I'm saying, he's a tough evaluation, especially for a professional who actually sits there and breaks down quarterbacks, because I'm no expert on that, but when I'm researching and I do watch the film and I look at the highlights and things like that of that nature, I'm looking at that and I'm saying, damn, like, okay, now I see what they're talking about with Shedeur, because it's like 1 minute you may think like he can't read a defense, but then another game you be like, oh yeah, he definitely know how to read a defense. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
so it's up and down with him. And Pat Schumer had to air quote, like, he dumbed down the offense so he can get rid of the ball because of that bad offensive line. And he made the offensive line look better than what it was, because I honestly think, like, if that offensive line would have faced the Notre Dame or we could even say Illinois, you know what I'm saying? They would have,
Right.
oh my goodness, they would have been in trouble. They would have been
Yeah.
in deep trouble, But
I think one thing that we all have to understand is these quarterbacks coming out, the windows are going to be much smaller. And that's why they bring up arm strength to know if you can get it there through these small windows. You're not going to have these big windows that you have in college football.
right.
That's just not gonna happen. You're gonna have to fit it in certain places. You're gonna have to put it in certain places where your guy is the only one that can make a play on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what has a lot of people worried about this draft class. And they'll see. Surely they'll see early on. They're going to put them in those situations, uncomfortable situations.
Mm-hmm.
So Cam, he does have pretty good arm strength. I
Yeah.
have seen him fit some things in some tight windows, but I think you have to see it more. The anticipation can be a little bit better. Same thing with Shedeur. His anticipation can be a little bit better. Now, as far as real tight throws, I saw him make a couple.
All right.
So that'll be something too, considering how they're saying his arm strength. Yeah, he's gonna throw a ball that anybody can catch.
Yep. That's a
Um,
fact.
I've said this from when I first saw him. He throws a nice ball. I'm not trying to hear people. I heard people talking about the patenting and the ducks and this and this and that. He throws a nice ball.
Yeah, he do.
You know
Pat,
what I'm
I mean,
saying?
every quarterback does the little
Oh
pat.
yeah, that's why when they brought that up, I'm like, that doesn't factor in on anything. Now, the thing that does factor in is if you lock in on a receiver.
Right.
Because that's what they're paying attention to is your eyes. Now what'll get you in trouble.
Yeah.
And maybe that's another thing that these GMs and owners are looking at is, can these quarterbacks manipulate the defense?
You know what? And McCord was good at that. There's a few quarterbacks that's good at that, and I gotta say, Jackson played in the air quote simple system, but yeah, I feel that. Yeah. I feel that could they do it, but I stand on it. There's going to be now years later. I don't know. This could be, let's say, 3 to 4 years from now. I'll give it 4 years. we're gonna say four of these guys is definitely gonna be it. Now that's no genius thing, right? Because you're always gonna see quarterbacks, but out of this 2025 class, I want to give it 4 years from now. 4 of these quarterbacks are going to be franchise quarterbacks. I stand on that, and I'm going to say that because they have everything, and the fact that they're willing to actually sit these guys behind professional quarterbacks to learn instead of trying to take them in the first round. And even if they are taking some of these guys in the first round, they may even sit, you know what I'm saying? And I think that, you know, they're noticing that like it's different for a quarterback in the NFL from college. Like you got to learn from a great quarterback or sit behind somebody, come in and do that. And that's why I think these quarterbacks is going to be good. Like, I mean, I got 8 of them. I had got 10 up here, but the first 2, like I said, will be good backups. But the last 8 for sure, they going 4 of them guys is going to hit. You can't tell me out of Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Kyle McCord, Tyler Show, Will Howard, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, and Riley Leonard. 4 of those guys is not going to be franchise quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's how it works out. At least 4 out of that many, yeah. And then the rest probably back up. You may have 1, possibly 2 that may not, you know, that may be a journeyman or something. But yeah, I agree with you.
Bet. I'm about to get up out of here, man. I appreciate you coming in, man. I gotta go eat. I just got home, hit the barber shop. I got things to do, man. I appreciate y'all.
For sure, Trucker. Shoot, I'm about to go on eat myself. Shoot, I just got back in the house myself.
I heard you munching. You make me hungry. That's why I said I smell my dinner. You up here munching. I'm like, I gotta go eat.
I'm too. So man, we'll politic later, bro. Thanks for having me up.
For sure. Anytime. Hey man, I appreciate y'all out there coming to kick it with me, man, and listen, man, and listening to the fans' point of view, man. Y'all know that y'all welcome to come up, man, and discuss these topics, man. When I got them up here too, just by the way, just to let y'all know that. But I do appreciate y'all coming through and kicking it with me for that hour, man. Hey, y'all know how I give it up, man. Y'all always pray for me. I'm always pray for y'all, yeah. Peace. Most definitely. About to go.